All right, let's dive into something weird today. We're looking at a piece of source material that honestly looks like total gibberish on the surface. But what if it's not? What if it's actually a hidden blueprint for thinking like a genius? Let's find out.
So get this. Our source is a video transcript, and for the most part, it's just this one word, heat, repeated hundreds and hundreds of times. That's pretty much it. It just keeps going. What on earth could that possibly mean?
But here's the thing. I don't think it's nonsense at all. I actually think it's a code, a kind of mental model for how to have a breakthrough, and it's just hiding in plain sight. And today, we are going to crack that code together.
And here is our Rosetta Stone. The source comes from a YouTube video with a very specific and I think very deliberate title. This title, this is our roadmap. This is where the real message is buried.
Okay, so our first step is to really just look at the puzzle itself. On one hand, we have this transcript that seems totally meaningless, and on the other, a title that feels incredibly meaningful. So how do these two pieces fit together?
I mean, on the surface, it's just noise, right? It's monotonous repetition, it feels like a glitch, or maybe some kind of weird performance art. There's no obvious story, no clear instruction, just heat. Oh, and one other word, but we'll get to that in a bit.
And this, I think, is the whole point. The transcript is supposed to look simple because the real text, the real source material we need to dig into, is the title. It's a classic misdirection. You're meant to focus on the wrong thing, so you miss the real secret.
So, let's put on our detective hats. It's time to break down that title piece by piece and uncover the hidden instructions that are waiting for us.
The title basically gives us three big clues. First, you've got Moneyball's soundtrack. Second, there's Think Different, Win Different. And third, we have the name of the YouTube channel itself, which is Cinematic Focus. Each one of these is a critical piece of the puzzle.
Okay, first clue, Moneyball. Now, for those who don't know, this comes from a famous baseball strategy. A team with a tiny budget used data to find players that were just massively undervalued by every other team. They basically saw genius where everyone else saw, well, nothing special.
But here's the crucial part. This isn't about sports. Not really. The title is invoking a mindset, a way of thinking, the ability to find that one single, overlooked variable that can completely change the game. It's all about finding hidden value.
Clue number 2. Think different, win different. I mean, this phrase is practically a command. It's telling us that to find that hidden value, you have to actively reject what everyone else is doing. You simply cannot find an undervalued asset if you're just following the crowd.
And our final clue? It comes from the channel's name, Cinematic Focus. This isn't just a random name, it's describing the method. It's not just about focusing, it's about a deep, almost obsessive concentration. Think of it like a director focusing on that one perfect shot that's going to tell the whole story.
So now we've got our decoded clues, right? The Moneyball idea of value, the command to think differently, and this need for intense focus. So it's time to put it all together and finally figure out what heat is all about.
And here it is. Heat isn't about temperature. Of course it isn't. It's a symbol. It represents the very thing the title has been pointing to all along.
This is what connects everything. Heat is that Moneyball variable. It's that one skill, that one idea, that one metric that everyone else is ignoring, but that you and only you have identified as the key to winning.
Okay, so why repeat it over and over and over? Because that's the work. That's the cinematic focus in action. The video is literally instructing you to apply relentless, monotonous, obsessive attention to your heat. You focus on that one thing to the exclusion of everything else. And then, after hundreds of repetitions of heat, after all that focus, the transcript is broken by a single solitary word, hallelujah. This is the breakthrough. This is the eureka moment. It's the win different part of the promise. Hallelujah is that feeling of pure joy and discovery you get for your relentless focus on the thing nobody else cared about. It's the moment your big, unconventional bet pays off. So you see, this isn't just some weird video. It's a complete philosophy for innovation. Let's wrap this up by turning this abstract idea into a practical mental model that you can actually use. It really boils down to these 3 steps. First, you have to find your heat, that overlooked thing that really matters. Second, you apply that relentless cinematic focus on it. And third, you just keep going. You work until you hit your hallelujah moment. It's so simple, but man is it powerful. And just look at how this stacks up against the way most people think.
Instead of trying to improve everything just a little bit, you pour all your energy into one thing that can change everything. You ignore the crowd, you ignore the noise, and you hunt for the breakthrough.
In the end, what we've been looking at was never really a song. It's a lesson, a whole strategic framework for innovation, brilliantly disguised as a simple, kind of nonsense YouTube video.
And that brings us to the final question this whole thing is really about. Now that you have the framework, what's the single most important, most overlooked variable in your work, in your project, or even in your life? What is your heat?